Well, howdy everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of DNW Reviews. I'm your host, Anthony, coming to you once again from the heart of Beirut. Enjoy. Folks, we are reviewing the second episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, titled The Star Spangled Man. But before we get into it, please take a second to like this video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought about episode 2. Are you enjoying The Falcon and the Winter Soldier? What did you think of episode 1? Make sure to watch my review of episode 1. I'm going to put the link somewhere up there. Join the family, become a do not warrior. So episode 2 of The Falcon and Winter Soldier is called The Star Spangled Man, and the episode wastes no time. We get into meeting John Walker, also known in the comics as U.S. Agent, and they make him a likable and sympathetic character. Now, that is the smart way to go. You know what I mean? Instead of painting him as this like asshole shitty character from the beginning, they're trying to give him some layers. They're humanizing him. They introduce us to like his girlfriend or his wife in the beginning while he's in that locker room. We meet his best friend, who we later find out to be, is his sidekick, Battlestar. But they're doing their best to make this John Walker guy likable. And there's one line that he says that his friend tells him. He tells him, "You can't punch your way out of problems anymore," which also hints at John's possibly troubled past. Like, I get that he's a war hero and they're trying to establish him as this guy who's gotten 3 medals of honor, etc. But there's also this darker side that they're slowly trying to set up. And I think the first hint at that darker side is when his friend tells him that you can't punch your way out of problems anymore. I think that's going to come into play later. I'm guessing he's a guy who likes to use violence to solve problems instead of, sometimes trying to talk his way out of it or trying to find common ground, which I think is going to lead to some problems later in the season. But he genuinely seems like a real war hero. They mentioned that he has 3 medals of honor. He's tested like the highest grade when it comes to like physicality and stuff. So he certainly, on paper, deserves to be Captain America. Now, does he have the character and does he have the integrity and all of that to become Captain America? That is a different conversation. But on paper, in terms of his accolades and his accomplishments in the military, it looks good. Then we watch as John Walker is having this interview, at the football game. And Bucky is watching that interview, and he's watching it in complete disgust. Like, the look on Bucky's face is probably how most of us feel watching that. Like, who the fuck are you? Why are you carrying Cap's shield? Why are you in costume? Like, why are you wearing Cap's costume? You're not Captain America. I like that scene. I like that Bucky is really distraught about Sam having given up the shield, and he's just not having it. He's not having this dude, like, carrying the shield. So right after that scene, we are taken to a military base where Sam is about to get on a plane to stop the Flag Smashers from stealing some kind of vaccine or something like that. Bucky goes to find Sam, confronts him about the shield, about all of that. Sam tells him he has no time to deal with it, so Bucky's like, fuck it, I'm going to join you on that mission. The two of them go to try to find the Flag Smashers, who again are about to like steal some kind of vaccine. Bucky and Sam go into this warehouse where they are looking... They're kind of observing the Flag Smashers as they're about to steal these like vaccines. They follow them. Then there's this big, pretty badass action sequence on top of 2 trucks. Now, there's one weird thing that I noticed. Like, Bucky runs to the second truck and like opens it and climbs inside, while the first truck is just like driving behind him, seemingly not caring. I'm not sure who was driving the trucks. Was it the Flag Smashers? Was it someone else? It's not entirely clear. I just found that to be a little bit wonky. But we have a pretty cool action sequence with Falcon and Winter Soldier basically getting their asses handed to them by the Flag Smashers. And the Flag Smashers clearly have the super soldier serum, so they're way more powerful. There's a pretty, cool action sequence. They're clearly getting overwhelmed. Then, surprise, surprise, new Captain America, John Walker, shows up with his sidekick Battlestar, and they try to help Bucky and Sam, but they're also overwhelmed. So all 4 of them end up getting their asses kicked by the end of it. And there's a pretty cool scene where John Walker is like throwing the shield and Bucky catches it for one moment. And you can see again in his eyes like the disgust and how hesitant he is to give the shield back to John Walker. So there's that whole action sequence. And right after that, Bucky and Sam are like walking back. Sam's wings get fucked and they fall off the trucks eventually. So Bucky and Sam are walking back. They're trying to walk, I guess, to the airport. We got John Walker and Battlestar in a Jeep trying to pick them up and trying to get them like, hey, get in the car with us. They're trying to befriend them. Like, John Walker knows that Bucky and Sam aren't fans of his. He can tell that they're not happy that he ended up with the shield. And he's trying his best to like make conversation with them, try to befriend them, try to get on their good side, but they're just not having it. It comes off as a little bit immature and like dickish on their end, on Bucky and Sam's end, but you get it. Like, they were Cap's best friends. They never vouched for this fucking guy, and he ended up with a shield. So it makes sense why they wouldn't be having any of it. But John is trying to get on their good side. So that is worth mentioning. But his efforts are fruitless. Bucky and Sam end up getting out of the truck and, walking towards the airport. And that's the last we see of John Walker for now. We're then taken to another scene where the Flag Smashers, again, the Flag Smashers are my least favorite part of the show, but they're getting into this hideout. They get to the hideout. They're in I think Bratislava. I can't remember. So they get to the hideout. Then one of the Flag Smashers gets a text message and it says something like, "You stole something that belongs to me. I'm going to find you and kill you." So that suggests that the Flag Smashers might not actually be the villains. They might actually end up being some misunderstood Robin Hood type character, I don't know, some kind of vigilante, some kind of hero, where they're trying to help the poor, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor, something like that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of I always find it hard to believe when seemingly a young teen gets to overpower a bunch of fucking superheroes. That even though she has a super serum, how did she get it? All that sort of thing. Either way, I'm not a big fan of that storyline. Who's the person sending the text? It's so far in my mind, it's either Baron Zemo, obviously, because we know he's going to be involved in this season. It's maybe John Walker. It's maybe new Captain America. Maybe he was trying to steal some of these serums. Maybe it was actually a super soldier serum or something. So it could have been him. Who knows? They might be working on a twist, or it might be some other kind of organization. Who the fuck knows? But anyways, it just goes to hint that the Flag Smashers aren't as bad as we think they are. And I have a feeling towards the end of the season, they're going to try to make them sympathetic, and maybe Sam and Bucky will try to end up helping them while John Walker wants to destroy them or something. Now, this is probably one of the best scenes of the episode. We're taken to Maryland, where Bucky tells Sam that he has something he wants to show him, something that pertains to what they're looking for. So they get to Maryland, and they go to this house, and they enter this house where we meet a character called Isaiah Bradley. So Isaiah Bradley was basically a super soldier, a black super soldier in the 50s that the U.S. government basically hid away, put in jail, and tested and experimented on for 30 years. So I like that a lot because it touches, again, on racism, on, how African Americans were mistreated in the 50s, taken advantage of, etc., etc. It's a very powerful moment when they were talking to Isaiah. The pain in his voice, the pain in his face. Falcon's reaction, why the fuck didn't you tell me about this? There was a black Captain America and no one fucking told us about this. Amazing moment. And as Sam and Bucky are having their confrontation in the middle of the street, a cop car shows up. And I love Marvel for fucking going there. I was talking about this last week. I was hoping that Marvel delves into the racism angle a little bit, because Marvel are known to sort of toy with big ideas and flirt with big ideas, but they never really go deep. And I'm pretty shocked to see a Disney Marvel show going as deep as they are into, the whole racism thing. The cop gets out of the car. It's clearly racial profiling. They're hey, they're asking Bucky, hey, is this guy bothering you? They're asking Sam for his ID. Great fucking scene, straight out of Compton or something like that. So I like that a lot. The cops end up recognizing Sam, but they also end up taking Bucky to prison because he missed his court-ordered therapy session. So now Bucky is taken to prison. That's the next scene we get to. We follow them to prison. John Walker shows up. He helps Bucky get out, which Sam and Bucky aren't happy with. But either way, it's another way for John Walker to try to, befriend those guys, get on their good side. The psychiatrist shows up and asks for a joint therapy session with Bucky and Sam. And this is where we get the best moment of the season. She asks both characters of the episode so far. She asks both characters to look at each other. And then she asks Bucky, why does Sam bother you so much? Why are you so annoyed by Sam? And Bucky says sort of the most revealing line and the most powerful line. He basically says that if Cap chose to give Sam his shield, and Sam was so careless with the shield and just gave it away to, as soon as he got it, was Captain America wrong about Sam? And then the way Bucky says it is, maybe he was wrong about you. And if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me. This fucking line, man. So, this just shows you how much shit Bucky is still going through. Bucky lost his best friend. Bucky lost the only guy who saw Bucky as a good person, regardless of his past as the Winter Soldier. Steve, Cap, knows who Bucky is deep down. No one else knows Bucky that way. So for Bucky to lose the only person who believed in him, the only person who saw good in him, and he's now all alone in the future with no one to relate to, that is extremely powerful. And for him to have this self-doubt, am I worthy of Cap's forgiveness? Am I worthy of Steve's love? Am I worthy of Steve's admiration? The fact that he's asking those questions is great. And the fact that he's looking at Sam, as if Cap trusted you, if Cap gave you that fucking shield, that means he saw something in you. I love that scene. It's fucking fantastic. And that is the best line of the episode, and it is the most powerful line so far. And I really think that it sort of distills what the show is about. It's about 2 people trying to live up, 3 people actually, trying to live up to the legacy of Steve Rogers. It's about Sam trying to live up to the legacy of Steve. It's about Bucky trying to live up to the legacy of Steve. And it's about John Walker trying to live up to Steve's legacy. It's these 3 very different characters. Each one comes from a different background. Each one has his own shit to deal with, but they're all striving to this ideal that is Steve Rogers. And can anyone be the next Steve Rogers? And can anyone live up to that impossible standard that he set? As Bucky and Sam are leaving the police station, we get a pretty funny scene of John Walker kind of like using the police sign, like whoop whoop, like to call them over. Such a fucking, like, I don't know, like he's such a douche for doing that. Like like no one's a fan of the fucking police, so for him to do that and just like chilling on the cop car, just very visually tells you everything you need to know about that character very quickly. So again, you got John Walker trying to convince Sam and Bucky to join them and help them, find the Flag Smashers. Bucky and Sam are like, nah, fuck that. You guys are too controlled by the government, etc. We have a little bit more freedom. We're not as tied down as you guys. And this is where John Walker says another one of his very revealing lines that could reveal, where his character is going. He says, well, all right, basically, but if you're not going to work with us, then stay the hell out of my way. That is pretty much setting up conflict between Sam and Bucky. We know they're going to get in the way of John Walker and Battlestar, so that's going to be fun to see. And the episode ends with basically Bucky and Sam making the connection that they have to go see Baron Zemo, the villain from Captain America Civil War. So the episode ends on a cliffhanger where we see Baron Zemo just chilling in his cell, and we know that the characters are going to go there. So overall, did I like episode 2? I did. I think it's better than episode 1. It's continuing to delve deeper into these characters. It's continuing to explore the racism angle, which I didn't expect Disney to go as hard on, and I'm very happy to see them going there. If I had a couple of complaints, I would say that the jokes and banter between Sam and Bucky could be dialed down like 10%. I feel like some of it is coming off as a little bit forced. They're both coming off as slightly immature people. I really like their chemistry, and I love both actors in the role. I love both characters. I just think they're overdoing it with the cute banter between them. The Flag Smashers are still not doing it for me, whether in like the way they look. They have that whole scene where they're trying to get away from like the police. I couldn't care less about them. I don't care about them. Their masks still look like they were 3D printed in bulk. They look horrible. That Flag Smasher that like sacrificed himself to run at the police didn't have to do that at all. You know what I mean? He just ran. They just shot him from a distance. Like, I don't even know what he did to help delay them. Sacrifice himself for nothing. And the whole thing, like, they might try to make us feel bad for them. I not a fan. I don't like it. And I don't like little teenage girls, or if it was a teenage fucking boy, like, I don't care. I don't want teenagers leading a team of fucking, mercenaries or rebels or something. And if she's not meant to be a teen, well, she looks like a teenager. I don't know. I can't take her seriously. And also my little nitpick about the action sequence when Bucky ran to the second truck. Like, what's the first truck doing in the back? It just felt like a detail that was sort of overlooked. And it just made the show seem a little bit less polished. But these are all little nitpicks. Overall, I think it's a very fun episode. I think episode 2 is better than episode 1. And it is continuing the momentum of this series, which is only 6 episodes. So, I mean, we're technically a third of the way through the series. With episode 3 coming out, we're going to be halfway through. So there's not much of this left to go. But so far, so good. This is an extremely entertaining movie. This feels like a sequel to Captain America, Civil War, or Captain America, The Winter Soldier. So far, so good. I think I've gone over everything. I'm looking over my notes. I think these are my thoughts for episode 2. Again, just very enjoyable. I'm really loving this series. I'm loving Marvel TV in general. Like, how fucking awesome is it that we're getting almost an hour of Marvel every single week? It's literally like reading a comic book. Like, comics come out weekly or monthly. How fucking cool is that? We get like 40 minutes of amazing Marvel television every single week. It feels like the comics are coming to life. It's so fun. I can't wait for episode 3. I was kind of worried and nervous about this series going into it. If you guys remember in my WandaVision review, I was like, this is the series that I'm least excited for, even though I'm a huge Captain America fan. But I am pleasantly surprised. Like, the action sequences are great, but more importantly, the character moments are great. The character building. I love Bucky. I love Sam. I'm very interested to see where they're going to take the John Walker character, but so far, he's great, played by Wyatt Russell. So let's see, but so far, so good. Folks, thank you so much for watching my recap and review of episode 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Please take a second to like this video. Leave a comment. Let me know, did you like the episode? Did you dislike the episode? What do you think of the season as a whole so far? Are you happy with Marvel television so far? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Become a Do Not Warrior. We just recently crossed the 2,000 subscriber mark. My next goal is the I Love You 3,000 mark, which we're going to hit hopefully in like a month or something. Thank you so much, guys, as usual. And do not worry.
Do not worry.